Hi, everybody. Thank you. It's a great honor to be able to talk to you about these issues. So, the first question is about if preferences aren't fixed and stable, then what's the status of democracy? Do we kind of cut the legs out from under democracy? And it's a great question. It depends, I think, in large part on what our theory of democracy is. So, if our theory of democracy is that we just kind of register our preferences, and if we have a particular view on immigration or on COVID-19 that goes into the democratic process. If many of us have flexible views or they shift over time, or maybe they're a product of what our circumstances are on a Wednesday or a Thursday, then the instability might be thought to raise questions about that conception of democracy, if you're with me. So take one conception of democracy being we tell them what to do, and we know. If it turns out we're not sure what to do, even with our own lives sometimes, then we at least raise problems for that conception of democracy, say. Uh, but there's an alternative conception of democracy, and I confess I'm fond of it. Let's call it deliberative conception of democracy. And on a deliberative conception of democracy, we're all kind of trying to figure it out. And on some things, we may have firm views, but on many things, we're just not sure. And if things are going well, we're listening to each other. And we form our views in the process of listening to candidates and listening to our friends and kind of learning. So, on that conception of democracy, the fact that our preferences and values, at least some of them, aren't fixed and firm, that's not a problem for democracy. That's kind of a virtue of democracy. And whatever you think of American politics today, we're observing a lot of this good thing in real time. That is, we're observing that people are learning from each other, sometimes within party, sometimes across party. They're shifting. And the fact that they're shifting and learning, that's part of what a well functioning democracy aspires to. And this actually goes back to the founding, where the Federalist Papers are very clear. It isn't the role of our elected representatives or our process to kind of transmit the majority view and make it happen the next day. Instead, it's the role of our democratic process to have a lot of deliberation and discussion and disagreement, in which what ultimately happens is a product of the best discussion we can produce. That at least is the aspiration.